We're live. It's Thursday, which means what?
It's Paintcast Day.
It's Paintcast Day. We're now calling this a Paintcast. It's not a podcast. It's a podcast with painting.
Yeah,
Therefore,
so it's a Paintcast.
Paintcast.
Yeah.
So, what's it called?
A Paintcast.
No. What's it called?
The Paintcast.
What's its name?
It's called Creative Unraveling. This is a place for you to come and let yourself learn a new skill. And notice the chatter that comes up as you're in that process. That's why Jen joins me on these Thursday sessions. One Thursday is my favorite day of the week.
Have we ever established that? Like what? Why Thursdays?
I think because it's not quite it's past the halfway point, and it's not quite Friday, so there's an anticipation thing. I don't know. I just love Thursdays. I think actually. It was the day I would go volunteer at the women's shelter in my city, and it was just a joyful thing. I get to hang out and do activities with the kids and chat with the women, and it was just a cause that was really dear to me, and it got me out of the house and away from my everyday running my daycare. So I don't know. I just was always joyful on Thursdays, so it just kind of stuck.
I love it. Joyful on Thursdays. So. Because it's Thursday, I pretty much just turn it over to Leah. I appreciate the opportunity to join in the fun and be a guinea pig in the learning process, but also to share like the badgering and thoughts that like want to poke and prod as we go through this learning process. And for any of you out there who are perfectionists or recovering perfectionists, or maybe just anywhere in the spectrum of perfectionism, this is I would invite you to follow along. If you haven't, if you're just joining us, which is at, let's see, today we should be at the Righteous Rebels Facebook group, also on the Righteous Rebels YouTube, and I'm not sure if it's showing actually on LinkedIn. We're supposed to be on LinkedIn, so wherever you're coming from, welcome. Sit down with your perfectionism. Go back and look at our older paint casts and sit down and start doing the exercises, or listen to how like my chatter has changed, which is the part I think is cool and actually keeps me coming back. Other than I really do want to learn the craft.
It's how comfortable you've become.
It's
in the process and continuing to show up. And it's really what I try to emphasize in this is that it's really not about the end of it. It's the journey you go on to it. Like, it's such a cliche, but it really is. There's so much to learn from watercolors. I had some of my biggest ahas in the playing of paints.
I hear you say that, and I'm like, it's the journey in paint, and I'm like, it just doesn't connect. I can see that like out playing a sport, or mostly where I've had that experience is like hiking or trail running, endurance sports. But I've been watching Leah put together a new painting, and I'm watching. I mean, I don't know the process that's going on in her head, but it's been fun to watch the canvas come alive as she goes through that process and the journey of that. So I'm starting to see it a little bit. I don't get it still like Leah gets it, but I'm okay with that. I keep showing up, and it has become more fun. So again, if you're just joining us and this is your first paint cast, go back and look at the others. They're also on therighteousrebels.com, correct?
Yes, actually there is a page. So
that's probably the easiest.
/creative unraveling, I believe.
Say that again. I was talking.
therighteousrebels.com/creative unraveling.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest place to go back and find them in successive order. Yeah. Super fun. So today, Leah's like, "What do you feel like doing?" And honestly, I don't feel like doing a whole lot because I don't feel well. So
thanks for joining.
I'm excited to be here and to see what happens, because I did show up. Yeah. And I just want to say thank you to you for showing up, for yourself, and for us. And here we go.
All right. So because it's fall and it's just a fun thing to do. We're gonna do a fall kind of landscape. So what you need for this
landscape. You didn't say anything about a landscape.
is
She's pulling a like.
You said, what do you want to do? And I'm like, what are you up to doing? And then you didn't answer me. So I'm like, okay. So
okay, time out, friends. Time out. She gave me 3 options. I told her one of them was a landscape.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it to be a landscape, so
I don't think you can hear me very well.
I might not be able to hear her very well. But this is where my perfectionism starts kicking in right here.
And you don't have to be a perfectionist to do this.
But no, you absolutely don't. But maybe it's not the perfectionism. It's funny to watch what's going on in my head right now because I'm like watching children run around in circles like, I thought we were going to do something else. Okay, here we go. Landscapes.
Okay, what you need, you'll need a spray bottle for this one. You want some sort of flat brush. Oh wait, I'm on this camera. Okay, so flat brush, a round brush of some sort. It can be bigger or smaller. Just something, this is what you're gonna be making your trees with.
And just a reminder, start with what you have. If you don't have this stuff, just start with what you have. And as we've gone through this process, I've gone through several kinds of brushes. I still don't have fancy brushes, but I use what I have. And we've changed my paints.
Yeah.
Because we learned that what I had wasn't actually working properly. We've changed the paper. And all of that makes a difference. But start where you're at. I really do enjoy that was part of the process of learning that and understanding like, whoa, I could do that same thing on a different piece of paper and something different happens. And so start where you're at. Start with what you have.
Yeah. You'll need some watercolors, so make sure before you start you want to spritz your watercolors. And
what's that called? Activate.
You activate your watercolors. I'm
just using yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually
mine. We're using mine.
Okay, I'm gonna switch cameras here.
Wait, you cleaned my tray?
I did. So we had a place to puddle.
There's a funny story about cleaning the trays. Like the insides of here usually get really dirty because you're swishing and swirling paints together. And Leah has it's on my story, so but it's really funny.
I was staying at a friend's and her kiddo, she was wanting to be helpful and just super thoughtful, and she's super cute. She cleaned out all my paints, and I was super grateful, but there was a part of me that was like,
those moments you're like, thank you.
Yeah, it was super thoughtful, but at the same time,
but tell them why. Like, why was that so shocking to you? Like, why is this part of painting important for someone who's new to this process?
A lot of times, because it's usable paint still. So a lot of times I'll have colors on there that if I'm in an active painting, it's kind of like a reminder of what I did to make that color.
Friends, I don't know how she can remember because I see her just smush them all together. But I do like that it is something that you can come back to. So if you have your own mixing trays, just know that it's still reusable. And
I think for me, it was the cleaning of the actual paint, because you can lose a lot of your blocks that way. Anyways, so we're going to start with the top third of this, and we're just going to spritz. Just start with the light spritzing.
Wow, we're doing it with we've never done this before.
No, this is
my 6 or 7-year-old just got super happy.
Right. I love that you talk about it that way. Because really this is all about play. And I think we forget that in our adulthoodness. And that's why I love working with Jen, is because she's all about play and creating playful experiences. And the power of that.
Show your tray really quick, like what you're doing. She's like,
So I'm just making kind of like puddles of color. So I want probably 3 different colors. This is going to be my trees.
So you're just like choosing yellows-ish, and you're just putting them puddled on the
Yeah.
in the mixing tray. And then see that freaks me out when she has a color on her paintbrush and then she just like dives into another completely different color. Like,
But it's a light color. Like if I did that into a purple, that would make it like
I've seen you do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it happens.
And then this is what she does.
Water.
She just
Okay.
friends, you gotta have a glass or a jar of water to rinse your brushes. Yeah, I see her do that, and my insides like freak out because I'm like, you're mixing colors like in their little containers, and she just laughs. She just happily does it, and I just try to follow along.
And
what brush are you using?
This is the pointy. Yeah, that will work. Or you want a round brush. So all you're gonna do here is like on the top third, you want to kind of just drop in some colors and let it. Just you've spritzed water. So
explain what you mean when you say drop in colors.
So what I mean is I've put water on the page already. So right now all I'm doing is putting in the color in the water and letting the water do what water does.
Which is what?
It'll just spread. So this is me dropping in colors. I don't want to have like flat shapes right here in this step. I want this to be really loose and just like have the idea of of trees.
Oh, it's supposed to, I'm like, is it supposed to look like? I'm just blobbing. Now you say trees. Oh my gosh.
But that's okay. It's totally, you've got quite a bit.
I have a big blob right there because my paper buckled.
Yeah. I have a big blob in some spots too. And the beauty of that, if you blob, you have paper towel and you can unblob yourself in that.
Yeah, unblob yourself, would you?
Yeah. I mean, and that's part of what I love, the watercolors.
Ooh, that's a lot of water right there.
Yeah.
So interesting how the spritzing of that, I mean, that was a puddle on the top of it, of a bubble.
So I'm putting some more of the colors near the back. So for me, the back is the lightest color, which is going to be the yellow. And then I'll go a little bit more forward.
M something.
I'm going to take a little bit of the brown, darken this a little bit. But I want to keep the brightness of that yellow, so I don't want that too much. And then, because red is so pretty on the leaves. This is just really, really loose. Just
so loose. Oh my word. Man, that all the water seems to be coming to that one spot.
Yeah, my page kind of buckled like that too. So once you've got that,
don't mind me just having a small tantrum.
Yeah, that happens. And you know what? I think that's just part of it. I think the more you do this, the more you realize that there really aren't mistakes. It's it just looks different than how you planned it. And I mean, I think that was one of my biggest life lessons. I didn't plan it. Right? Like, well, and that's how you kind of go into these things. Okay, so once you've got your kind of tree thing going on, you're gonna grab your flat.
Okay, mine looks nothing like trees.
That's okay, because you're gonna go in after once it's more dry.
Okay.
So you're gonna grab your flat brush. I don't know if this one's gonna work for me, and you're gonna just pull it down.
Just water.
Pull down. Pull down the.
Am I pulling the paint down?
Yeah. So you put it on the. No, this isn't gonna work. I realized
Try that new cool brush you found.
Yeah, but it's not cool for what I'm trying to do here. Oh, that's much cooler. So you're just pulling this down. You're going to the edge.
Paint on my.
And then you're just pulling some of that color down. Okay. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. I think I just feel extra whiny today, if I'm just being real.
That's fair. That's fair. And you're allowed. Because sometimes when we don't feel good, we just feel whiny, and that's okay. So here I'm going to start mixing, taking purple.
Why? See, look, how yours has all, how?
So I would add a little bit more red, and maybe puddle that up a little bit.
Puddle what?
That feels like a puddle in that spot. I'm going to mix up this to have a dark color, because the bottom 2/3 is going to be the water. So what we brush down is like the reflection of the water. So I'm going to make, this is my darkest blue. I'm just mixing that up.
I'm just plopping red on the page. There you go.
I don't have black, so I'm mixing black. So that's like a mixture of green, orange, and blue. And that'll give you like a blackish color. There. See how like it's dotty there? And you have those spaces that gives the impression of leaves. What we're gonna do in once it's dry and we do our water part, we can go in and have we can add more trees like that have more definition, like that are darker.
Okay.
So this is just kind of like the background. So we're gonna make a line across here, but I feel like this is gonna be a little too wet and I don't want it to all mix. So before I do that, we're going to do the water. So here it's just, I
still don't know how you got.
All you're going to do here is just kind of make the idea of water. You don't want to mix it too much. This is kind of like reflections in the water.
Seriously.
I feel like this is probably too wet.
I don't know that I have enough water.
It's spready, but that's okay.
Spready?
It's spready.
Like how?
I'm going to try and do this with a card, see if I can get a cleaner line. Because I want not the horizon, the shoreline to be clear. And that might just mean it needs to dry a little bit more.
We have the heater going down in here. Can I try that?
Oh, the card? Yeah. Absolutely.
I just put it in the end here.
Yeah. Or you can paint it too.
Okay. Such a glare on my page.
It's been interesting. I started this painting, and in my head, it started off one way and it's gone completely in a totally different direction I wasn't expecting. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts I've gotten from this process of painting and watercolors is being more open to allowing quote unquote mistakes to just let my mind go in a different direction than I had thought. I think it's happy little what is that? Happy little trees. I just thought of Bob Ross. It's not. I'm just going in with a paper towel and pulling up some of this because it looks really spread just because it was wet. Happy little accidents.
Yes, that was like, you say something else. Okay.
Yeah. But he pops into my head about the happy little trees. I got sidetracked. I'm just letting this dry a little bit because this is super wet. And if I
you
go
see
in,
a big puddle right there. I just have little puddles, like right there.
yeah, I want to go and do this line a little bit more. But I feel like this is safer if I do it with this. What is it you're asking?
I don't even know. It's judgment, actually.
Okay.
Looking at her page compared to mine, because I didn't have the picture in my head. I just started painting what she said, and just how they just look 180 different. Hers look like trees. Mine look like, I don't even know.
But it once
Like I stepped on my page, or my grandson stepped on my page with his cute little foot.
Okay, letting this dry. I don't. This kind of looks like a rock.
I
Actually,
say it looks like a cloud.
That's kind of neat. I'm gonna play with that because there's rocks in the water.
This is the part that my mind really wants to freak out on, because I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And she's like, ooh. She saw a whole nother like 10 pictures and things to do with what she's doing. My mind right now doesn't currently process like that.
Well, now I'm like gonna make little ripples because the water's going around the rock.
See? I'm telling you, there's 8 more things in there.
It's not clouds though. I have to make it look like a rock.
Uh-huh.
So to do the little rock things, I just took my paper towel and like soaked up some of the excess water there, and then created these funky little rocks. And then I'm just gonna do.
I don't have anything that looks like rocks, nor really do they look like cripples, but they do look like really blue lines on the page.
Well, and that's the water, right?
Supposedly.
I'm still waiting for this to dry, and I don't want to mop it up.
Will you hand me that paper towel though? I'm gonna clean this right here. And maybe this. It's kind of cool though, because the paper towel can give a really cool effect. And I do like that sometimes. Like, inadvertently now she has rocks.
Well, it reminds me of the river. Right?
I was going to say, however, if you try to direct her through those rocks with instructions, that's a whole nother story.
Well, let's share that story. So one of the first rapids we did on the river trip, which registration is open.
It was like day 2.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're on the river trip, and it's the second day. We're on the water. We did the duckies, which are the inflatable kayaks. And
so individual, we were in our own.
Yeah, we were in our own kayak. And so we get to this one spot, and our guides scout. We have to go scout it because it's a fairly big rapid.
And we could scout this one. Lots of them we couldn't because we were in an active fire zone.
Yes, that's right. And so we get out, and Ellie's doing this beautiful job of describing like the lines.
There's the tongue and the big rock. You want to stay to the right of that. The golden rock where the water's smashing into it. And beyond the golden rock, you want to stay to the right because it's flaky. And then you just... It was very clear instructions.
Yeah. So I'm looking, I see the golden rock, I see the tongue, I see all the things except the flaky rock. I did not see the flaky rock. But of course, being the way I am, I just smile and nod. I'm like, okay, got it. And jump in the kayak and like I guess I'll figure out where I'll see. I figure I'll see the flaky rock when I get closer to it. I never saw the flaky rock, so I just sing to myself in Spanish and like, hey, we'll figure this out.
Well,
go down the thing.
I mean, to be fair, they guided us through it as well. They were in front of us,
Yeah, we got to see.
so we could follow their lines. But it was just funny. She can paint them, but she might not see them.
Yeah, I didn't.
To,
I never
to
saw
be fair, it was
flaky rock.
tricky, and especially when you are at water level like that. Everything that we saw above it was completely different at water level.
Yeah, very much. So my page is drier now, so I'm taking the dark blue with. I want it to be orange, but it's not really working for me. Not orange like black. There you go. So I'm just taking that and I'm creating the shadows for the trees. Here's some shadows. And it's nothing like you're just making some like little, doodads. I don't know how to call them. What do you want me to call them? They're just, I don't know. They're shadows. So when that dries, you can go in with your, I would probably do the yellow. Would be my first color.
I don't understand how you can make them look so good.
But that how
oh my gosh.
But that works. That's
Does
working.
Okay.
Yeah. That's your shadows.
Shadows of what?
Of the trees. It just helps give it some more depth.
I just don't see it right now. Like I honestly am struggling a little because my mind isn't seeing, even though I'm watching her do it and I'm hearing her, my mind isn't seeing it. So it's wanting to have serious freakouts.
So here
I'm just going to keep painting.
Yeah, just keep doing the thing. So here I'm just taking my brush. I've gone into the yellow with watercolors. You want to go from your lightest color to your darkest. So I'm going to go yellow, orange, red. And again, I'm just going to, this is more pigmented. So it's going to just be brighter on my page. And I'm just dropping in some more leaves. This is essentially just leaves from afar. And I want them here. And just helps it make it pop. I'm going to do some orange. What?
Nothing.
Is that true?
No.
Okay. You can also take a different
just
brush.
Popping in more leaves. Like what the? Oh shit!
So this one is a little more spread out. Whatever you have, use that. And I'm just taking the orange and doing the same kind of thing. I just want you to know I'm kind of making this up as I go. So
I'm totally just plopping down paint and hoping it looks like something kind of similar to what you're doing.
I'm going to take the red.
I know nothing about making it up as we go.
Right. Come on. Okay. So,
friends, this is part of what I love about what we do is it really is about keeping it real. Just recognizing that, man, in life we just don't have it all figured out as much as we would like to think that we do, or we can plan all we want, and just life's going to give us what we actually need. And just being able to make real, like what's the word I'm looking for? Normal, like just making real normal again. That it's just I just feel like we have gotten super good at creating these beautiful
Things curated.
social, yeah, curated lives when in reality, all it's doing is hurting us.
Right.
My opinion.
Well, and I think it just takes it gives us that fear of trying. I look at just even sometimes my kids, like they don't want to try things sometimes because they don't know how to do it, and they don't have all the instructions, or they just don't know how. So instead of getting in there and trying to like figure that out, and being okay with it not looking perfect the first time around, they sometimes they'll just opt not to try, and I find that's heartbreaking.
I find it fascinating for myself too. Like there are things that I have no problem just getting in and looking like a dork and experimenting with, and other things I'm still in a mode of like what is the difference? Like what, like when we were singing with Irina, I could have led and done what she was done and looked like a dork and all that. No big deal. But to be the participant of that felt crunchier for me. And so it's fascinating for me to watch myself in some of those processes of like where and why. And right now I don't know the why. And I actually do a practice where I ask myself, do I need to know why? And if I don't, I let it go and trust that eventually, if I need to know the answer, will find its way in, and I'll be like, oh, that's why. But
And
I noticed you put some green down.
yeah, so I just kind of like bushes. I actually like the rocks.
The rocks look amazing, actually.
I wasn't gonna do rocks, but now the rocks kind of work. So, um, yeah, I'm just dropping in some green, just give it some I don't know, character.
Yeah, some character.
Listen, I've done this painting thing for probably like 10 years, maybe a little bit less.
I've probably done it for 10 days.
Yeah, and that's just the thing. Like it's okay. I really don't know what I'm doing. I just do what I do. And I think that's part of why we do this, is because I've learned a few things, and for me sometimes it's challenging to articulate what I've done or how I've done it. And so this is a great practice for me to share what I've learned in my journey with paint. So um, I think I would have done a little bit more color to drag down for the shadows.
I would have done a lot more color to drag down for the shadows because it looks like I have no shadows.
I meant the reflection.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm feeling that as well. But I mean, that's the whole thing. Like it's a journey. Like it's totally okay, because whatever comes out of this, I'll have learned something that I can take into my next attempt, my next experiment. I look at paintings as an experiment. Like um, I was telling Jen yesterday about some of my process and what I'm seeing, and then I kind of laughed at myself. I'm like, it almost sounds like I know what I'm doing, but really, it's just I'm just kind of making it up as I go. I haven't done a painting like the angel that I'm doing right now. I probably haven't touched acrylics in over 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a minute, because I've been so into watercolors that I really haven't done a lot with the acrylics. I've done gouache.
Gouache.
I honestly I picked up gouache just because, one, it's a different medium, and two, because I like the sound of it.
Right.
So when people say, "What's your medium?" I can say gouache.
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 It's kind of like suckleroot.
Suckleroot. Yeah, right. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of the sky, add a little bit more to what's it called, the water, and then we'll call it done. I think my water's a little dirty. But
Boy, there's supposed to be sky in there?
I had some space, so I thought I'll add some sky. Doesn't have to.
Yeah, I don't have hardly any space, but we'll play along.
There you go. It's peeking in through the leaves.
You know what we did fun today besides this is we went and a friend of mine was actually a couple of friends were performing at the Festival of Trees here in Idaho Falls. So much fun. I love doing things like that and watching other people's creativity as far as like tree, how they decorate the
Oh my
trees
gosh, that was so
and the
cool.
doors that are available there, and um, that was a lot of fun too, to see creativity pop through and shine in those places, but also in the music. Like we got to see several different performers. The junior high, the Rocky Mountain Junior High people actually made me tear. I just love the joyfulness of their voices as they're learning, and it was fun. So, other fun things we did today. What color did you have in here?
For the sky?
No, for the water.
I did the darkest blue.
The darkest blue. Okay. Play with
That like these two. So
Oh,
yeah.
Oh. I was gonna try to make it look like there was ripples, but
Yeah, that's it. I think part of it is this is all about play. Like I can't emphasize that enough. Is allowing your inner child to come out and play and just, oh my gosh, so many thoughts at once. So I was listening to this podcast this morning, and they just, I know this, and I've read about it and I've studied it, and I teach it, but it just hit me different today about how, there was a time in our upbringing where we were so like, we so owned our own power, and like we didn't feel like there was anything wrong with us, like, and somewhere in that journey, um the things that we don't like about ourselves is like something that someone said, or said about us that wasn't okay, for them, or like, you're too loud, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're
too much.
Yeah, you're too much, you're whatever it is. So we put on this character to fit in and maneuver in our worlds, and and it was such a beautiful reminder of like, remember the things that you like about yourself, and part of my writing practice this morning was like really thinking about what it is that I like about myself, and what are the things that I'm saying to myself that I don't like, and it was so interesting to see where I felt some of that stuff came from, and where I've hidden other parts of me because it just didn't feel like I could express them, and where painting for me has been a place where I don't feel that judgment. Sometimes it's in the process. When it comes to the sharing part, I that's a whole different story, but I'm getting better at that. But it's really just allowing yourself to play and be okay with whatever it is that comes through you.
Again, I find one, I appreciate those thoughts, and I find it interesting. You talk about play, and I can play in a lot of different places and in a lot of different ways, and this, um, for whatever reason, I still feel some angst in when you say just play. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means. So like play, that part still hasn't completely clicked in for me. Um, and maybe it never will, and maybe it will. I will continue to show up in the hopes that I can get to that space and what that feels like. Um, so if you're painting along with us and you're like, no, this does not feel playful, it's okay. It's okay. Just keep showing up, keep trying. I actually, that's not a completely true statement. I have I have sat down on my own and painted a couple of things, and I would dare say I may have felt a little playfulness, but they were super easy. It wasn't like mushing colors and all like, but it's a start. Like it was a start. So okay, this is here we go.
The scene.
I know, but see how I would like the reds to have come down, but you
Yeah.
know what? I did it. I showed up. I did it, and I didn't feel well, and I showed up, and I
Yeah.
did it. And I appreciate the teaching. I appreciate your comments today, and allowing me to be a bigger smart aleck than normal.
I think part of it is allowing yourself to get caught up in. I think for me, it's getting caught up in how the paints move and how they mush together. And I started in acrylics, and I was fascinated how when I would put a color on the brush, and then I would accidentally touch another color, and then like they'd make this really cool effect, and I would add depth to my paintings by accident. Like I didn't even know how I was doing it, and there was such a fascination that developed in me, that I wanted to see how what other ways I could experiment with the paint, and how I don't know, I was just fascinated with what paint could do and how I could manipulate it and how it could show me how it manipulates me, because I think it'll do one thing, especially with watercolors, and it does something totally different because I don't know what I'm doing. It was a place where I was open to allowing it to teach me the process, and it's such a neat feeling.
I love when you say that you were in a place to allow it the paint to teach you the process. Like
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And I think there's a lot of places we can apply that lesson or that teaching. Like how many times you show up somewhere thinking you're going to teach somebody something when in reality they actually have something to teach you. And I would recommend, like, when you go anywhere that you go, that even if you're there as the teacher or the presenter, that you go with an open heart and an open mind, and a willingness to be taught, uh, probably more than you're there even to teach. So I appreciate that applies here too. And I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm learning, and it's cool.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you joining me today, especially knowing that you're not feeling well. And we could try this one again, and we'll have some different perspectives on how to move through it differently, and how to, even for myself, teach it differently, so it's maybe a little more clear.
I
So
love it.
thanks for joining.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. And now it's time for dinner. Time for dinner.
Yes, absolutely.
If you have joined us, we would invite you to, again, if you haven't joined the Righteous Rebels Facebook group, that's the Facebook group. There is a page. We don't post on the page. Go to the Righteous Rebels Facebook group, click the join button. Boink. We'll let you in. At the top of the page, there's an art gallery that you can, we invite you to share all of the art that you do with us, or the art that you do not with us. Whether you are an artist in your own right, writing a book, cooking an amazing meal, maybe you wrote an incredible poem or painted a picture of your own. We invite you to put that in the art gallery and let us celebrate you,
Yeah.
and learn from you as well. And then again, we have 100 days of expansion going on. You can register for that. It's a freebie. It's a way for us to end the year in powerful momentum and have a lot of movement going into 2024. And we just wanted you to be able to have a way to do that as well. So click the register button. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Um, I
We
just
have a
lost.
vision board, so
Yes,
that's going to
thank
be
you.
live and on Zoom. Look for registration for that.
Did we say that's the
November
30th?
30th.
November 30th.
Yep. 7 MST.
Yep.
So yeah, just start thinking about what you want your rebel board to look like. I have a supply list that we can share.
Perfect. And there will be a small fee for that one. That is, did you say it's it's an in live or on person? No, I'm kidding. It's a in person or on Zoom presentation, so you have options if you're far away.
Yeah, and if you missed it yesterday, we talked about our experience facilitating the rebel boards.
So much fun
in Florida at the women's empowering.
Wait, did you say there was a story of a win in regards to some of that? Is that something we can share?
Oh, yeah. One of the women there, she's been a I'm not sure, something in the fashion retail industry.
Was she a purchaser? Retailer? I don't know.
Something.
She's an amazing woman.
Yeah. And so something had finished in her work, and she didn't want to go back into a full-time position, but someone was calling her, and you know, she's just in a place where she's like, I had my rebel board up and, you know, setting my intentions, and someone called me and I told them I don't want full-time, but I'm willing to do consulting. And they're like, okay. So, you know, and then she can just let it go into the universe, and you know, now she's let this woman know, and she can make space for her because they really need her skill set. So yeah.
Well, and go back and watch our live and unscripted yesterday if you want to know, why a rebel board is different from other types of vision boards or intention boards. And then again, come have the experience with us of actually going through taking those actions, feeling those feelings, and creating that magic for yourself.
Yeah.
River trip was the last thing. So watch for registration for the boards coming soon. By the end of the weekend, we'll have that ready for you. Registration for the river trip is open. We'll put the link in here. Remember, it's only a $500 deposit. Hold your spot, and then you're welcome to pay in full, or you have the option of making a payment in February and a payment in June if that suits you financially better. So,
all right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here we go. We did it. We did it. Remember, do we end that way here? I don't even know. I'm so used to it.
We can.
We do.
Totally.
Okay.
Until next time, remember,
be bold,
be brave, and be a rebel.
See you soon. Oh yeah, I have to do